you may never know.
Oh, yes.
You may never know.
Yeah.
I mean, we might not ever understand why.
Today, we're talking about grief, not just as loss, but as a physiological process that shapes resilience, identity, and growth. What if grief isn't something to get over, but a biological process in your nervous system and your body, and something we all face all of the time because life comes with change and connection comes with the risk of loss. Welcome to Trauma Rewired, the podcast that teaches you about your nervous system, how trauma lives in the body, and what you can do to heal. I'm your co-host, Elisabeth founder of BrainBase.com, an online community where we use applied neurology and somatics for trauma resolution, behavior change, and personal growth.
And I'm your co-host, Jennifer Wallace. I'm a neurosomatic psychedelic preparation and integration guide, and I bring your nervous system into your peak somatic experiences. Today, we are so excited to welcome back Piper Rose on Trauma Rewired. They are the founder of Shadow Play Coaching, as well as the Director of Operations and Continuing Education at NSI.
A lot of people start with meaning making as a way to sort of like stop the grief arising.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we know that breakup, it needed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It really did. From here up, from my neck up, I know that was not good. And it's good that it's over. And that isn't the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the grief will still have its way with me, even if I know that. It might be a different quality of grief. That might be a part of that grief, but the grief still needs to happen in its wild, primal, core human experience, physiological, just animal body expression, you know? When I coach clients who are like really, they've come to me right at the beginning of grief, I always say, this is not the time to make sense of it, even though your mind will be grasping to make sense of it as an attempt to get out of this that you're feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise you, that's only going to slow it down. It's going to stunt whatever needs to actually come through right now as the physiological process, as the primal human process. And it will be painful to ask that question because your resources will be devoted to the physiological process that grief needs to move through. And you won't have the nervous system resources to think in a really creative, expansive way about the gifts, about what it means, because your resources are actually tending to the grief and the mourning. And so making sure that when you're in it and that is like, oh, I just wish I understood, go, I don't have the energy for that right now. The energy needs to be with my physiological, mysterious animal process and trust that as you start, the tides start to roll out from the big consumptive waves of grief, as you're sort of beached and someone's brought you like a smoothie and you've like put your clothes back on and you've taken a deep breath, then you can be like, what meaning am I going to make of this?
Yeah.
But it's that place.
Well, it's also true that like you may never know.
Oh, yes.
You may never know.
Yeah.
I mean, might not ever understand why. And we still have to process and we still kind of have to go on in some way it could take, sometimes it takes years to understand something, and we still have that process. We still have the burdens that grief puts into our bodies and the sensory experience and the patterning that's happening and the relational and the bonding, all of that. And that I could possibly never understand this.
Yeah. And I think there's, components of like, I'll never understand this. And I can see ways that it shaped me that are beneficial or things like that. But like, I have to have the capacity, and we talked about this in the ambivalence episode, I have to have the capacity, resources, not all of my resources being devoted to the actual grieving process, to like hold that ambivalence of like gratitude and grief at the same time, connection and grief at the same time. And it was really not great when people would push right into the, oh, but this came from it, and look at the silver lining. It's just, it's not great.
Okay. Kind of annoying too, right?
I'm going to give you, in my grief trainings with a school called Lamort, I'll shout out, the phrase that they give people to practice saying is, I can't imagine how this feels for you, and I cannot change it, but I'm here with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's just everything.
Because grief longs to be witnessed.
Make sure to subscribe to this episode on our audio platforms, or hit the little bell on YouTube to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss an episode, because we have lots of exciting conversations coming up, breaking down the science and the trauma of emotional health and nervous system resilience.